everyone. This is Beth Shibley coming to you from Sunflower House at Merritt Square Mall. I'm actually in the mall today at Sunflower House. And this is the second session of our Caregiving 101 workshop, where we kind of try to break down the mysteries of being a brand new caregiver. I am joined today with Rose Smith and Allie Amazian and Brooke Goldfarb, all from Aging Matters in Brevard. Allie, if you'd like to quick start, give me a little bit of a blurb about yourself, and then Brooke, and then Rose. And then Rose is going to start off this section, which is adjusting to a new normal. But Allie, go ahead.
Absolutely. So, hi everyone. My name is Allie Almazian. I'm the Program Director of the Home and Community-Based Services here at Aging Matters in Brevard. I like to kind of give a easy breakdown of what my job is. And basically, we have several different service lines, but two main programs in Aging Matters. I am over everything basically in the home. So, Rose is over the housing improvement. I'm over that section, and the caregiver resources, the caregiver center, the home care program, the transportation, and one of our newest ones, which is our stable home. So our goal is to keep seniors in their home safely and adequately as best we can, to make sure that they're carefully maintained and that they have the most safe environment as possible. So I've been with the company for a little over 3 years, and I've enjoyed working with seniors with a social work background, and am having a lot of fun doing what I do. So welcome, and thanks for having me.
Thank you, Allie. Brooke, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Brooke Goldfarb. I work with Allie Almazian, who you just met. I am the new Stable Home Coordinator, and I'm very excited to see what can be done to help seniors at risk of homelessness either remain safely and happily in their homes or find an alternative solution in our community.
Yeah. And Rose, you're the last one to speak up. And then Rose, I think as soon as you get done with that, you can start talking to us about how to help us modify our homes. And so people who decide that they're going to care for their loved ones in their homes can safely modify their homes. So go ahead, Rose.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I'm Rose Smith. I'm the supervisor of the Seniors Assistance Housing Improvements Program. That's a lot to say there, but what we do in a quickness, I guess, would be we install safety devices into seniors' homes so they can maintain and stay in their homes longer. So some of these things would be grab bars, it would be wheelchair access ramps, handheld showers, deadbolt locks, smoke detectors, chair platforms, bed rails, anything that we can install into a home to make it safer for a senior to live there. This does not include any like housing maintenance or repairs. These are all safety installations. We have several handymen in the county that will come. There's a little bit of a wait list, about 3 to 4 weeks right now. We're working on that, but they'll come out and do these for you with 2 different programs. The first program is a donation-based, no-cost program, and that one does have the wait list because we're using grant funds for that, and so you have to go on a list with other people. We do accept donations to help us get through this, but other than that, it's just funded with grants. The second is a private paid program where you can hire our handyman on a private basis, in a sense, to be able to install grab bars, and that there isn't such a long wait list. It's about maybe 3 to 5 business days for that. And there is a charge for that. When you call in, we can go over that process. But it's a lot quicker to have it done that way if you have the financial means to do so. Otherwise, just call me. We'll go through an intake process, and I can get someone onto the wait list if they're 60 years of age or older and they're homeowners in Brevard County.
Rose, quick, tell me your phone number.
The program's phone number is 321-631-2744, and that will get directly to me.
Thank you very much, Rose. So let's talk a little bit about, so this section, Caregiving 101, is called Adjusting to a New Normal. And it's about, the focus is for people who have for now, made the decision to try to keep mom or dad or spouse or sibling in either their home or their or the caregiver's home, rather than seeking placement in a different facility.
Correct.
When you make those decisions, there's oftentimes that you can't just decide to go from, everybody's fine and we're out golfing 3 times a week to, mom's either fallen and broken her hip, or she's gotten a diagnosis of cancer, or she's got Parkinson's is getting bad. All of those things are very different, but they all require us to take a look at where we live, if that's what we're going to do. So Rose, talk to us a little bit about things that folks need to look at.
So what I've tried to do or explain to a caregiver or a, son or daughter, if they're helping out their parents, is go through the home and think of yourself in the eyes of the person that was injured. And if that means putting yourself in their wheelchair or putting yourself on crutches, take a look at the home in a different light for someone who doesn't have all of their abilities. And start walking around and looking, is there wires on the floor that they could trip on? Is there rugs that really maybe are decorative, but they're loose and they move across the tile? What if mom's coming in the front door and she's, loaded with groceries? So kind of maybe even if you don't have crutches or a wheelchair, pretend that one of your arms doesn't work and go through your house that way. How would you turn on the lights? What is in your way? Is there too much clutter on the counter there for mom to be able to get to her medicines or for cooking? Try taking a shower with only one hand. Think about, when you're in the shower, where would a grab bar be best? Where would you grab from one if you thought maybe you were going to fall? And getting up off the toilet, do you have a standard size toilet, which is 15 inches? Or could, maybe mom or dad use a higher one, which is 17 inches, or maybe toilet rails? Are they having a hard time getting out of their recliner? You find that they're struggling just to get up. Well, maybe a chair platform would be helpful. Imagine someone, again, let's say one of your legs or your arms doesn't work. And I'm just saying that's the easiest way to do it for yourself, but to check it out for your parents. How would you get out of bed? Would it be helpful to have a bed rail there for balance? Trying to think, and of course the wheelchair ramp. That's not something that we can build plentifully right now. Lumber's a little pricey and it's pretty hot, but a little bit later in the year, we can build them all the way from 2 feet up to, we've done our largest is a 50-foot ramp. Wow. There's some different qualifications for that that we have to go through, and there's some pros and cons of different mobile home parks that allow us to do it or not, or such as, cities that may or may not allow us to do it for, construction licenses and permits. But give us a call and we can go through that and see if, we can get your parents safer in and out of their home. Maybe everything else is perfect. They can cook for themselves, they can bathe themselves, but just getting up and down those mobile home stairs is really their challenge, or taking the dog in and out to go to the bathroom. I mean, right there, if your loved one has a pet and they're going out 2 or 3 times or maybe more a day, and maybe just once to a doctor's appointment once a week isn't such a big deal, but those trips to take the dog to go to the bathroom are. And so that's where you'd want to give us a call and see if it's something that we can do.
I do have a question, Rose, and this is just, you and I have had conversations about redoing bathrooms, and you get to a point where you may need to do a bathroom, or your tub or shower cracks and you need to do a new one. What's your feedback on, or what's your guidance on redoing a bathroom so you can be safer down the road? I mean, we're all at an age where we're over that hump, or getting close to getting to that hump, where we do need to think about in the future and our safety in our own home if we plan on staying there. So what's your kind of thought and suggestions on redoing a new bathroom maybe?
So I'm going to be 42 on Thursday. If someone was to tell me that I get the budget to redo my bathroom, I would not do a fiberglass enclosure. I would have it redone in tile. Do I need grab bars right now? No. But I know that this is a once in a lifetime bathroom remodel, I'm pretty sure, in my current house. Once I do it, this is going to be for me and the next homeowner probably. So I would want to do it tile, because grab bars go safely into tile showers, not into fiberglass, which is, very hard because 99% of the mobile homes have a fiberglass shower. And so you don't think of it as you age, the wheelchair ramp into a mobile home, that's the biggest thing. But then after that, where can I put a grab bar if I can't put it into fiberglass? So if you ever have the opportunity, no matter what your age is, to redo your bathroom, I discourage the use of fiberglass. It's just got a time limit to it. Tile is almost timeless. I mean, yeah, maybe one or two will fall out. Fiberglass ages. And so you could say you put that fiberglass in last week, maybe a grab bar could safely go into it. The more you pull on it and it ages and becomes brittle like plastic almost, it's going to come out of the wall eventually. And the studs aren't in the same locations. At least with tile, it went through the tile into a stud. That is a lifetime, installation there. And so that would be my thing. And I would say too, 17-inch toilet. I have one now. My husband's very tall. That's why we did it. But really, it's because as we age, I don't want to be struggling. I don't want, I'm only 5 foot tall. I really don't want to have a hard time getting up off the toilet. So this is a good thing that you can do when you're remodeling your home. Think about the height of your cabinets. Do you really need to have those cabinets all the way up to the ceiling when later on in life you're really not going to be using those? Just kind of, if you're anywhere after your mid-30s and you're going to be doing some remodeling, I would take a look at Lowe's even has a plan for doing remodeling of aging in place. You can go over to Lowe's. They'll give you some suggestions about countertops and cabinets and bathrooms and things like that.
Yeah, another thing that I think of when I think of the fiberglass tubs is they're just so slippery.
Yeah.
Just so slippery. They're just a dislocated shoulder waiting to happen. Whereas if you get the tile,
Right.
you get them where the surface is so much safer. The other thing
Right.
I would suggest, in addition to grab bars, is to make sure that the entrance to your shower is wide enough to be able to get possibly a transport chair in. And you can do that now with so to take a look at the space that you're going to need, so that you could get people in and out. Because sometimes it helps to have something you can just roll in or roll out rather than having somebody and the low threshold, right? Rose?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. There's always a way to look at beautiful function. And so what I mean is you can still have a highly designed, beautiful shower, for right now, but then also ones that'll function for years. And one of the examples of that is there is a grab bar company out there. I don't think it's Moen, it might be Delta, that makes a grab bar that actually is part soap dish or that is also attached to your spigot. And so if you're not really wanting to advertise that you're in a situation that you need a grab bar, they have designer grab bars, and they're ADA approved. Now, we don't provide those, but we could install them if someone else was to get them. But there's always a way to make it safer without, making it look like, this is a handicap bathroom, which is some of the people's reservation. I'm not kidding when I say they'll call me and say, well, what do these look like? I don't want my neighbors or my friends to see that I'm having issues. So there is other ways to go about it besides my first instinct of, well, but they don't want you to fall either. Right? That's my first thing I want to say. But of course, I try to be a little gentler than that and explain there is other ways, but it's more important that you're safe than that you're, socially, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but, be safe.
Mm-hmm. I do have one other question too, and this is just, these things are just kind of popping in my head, and it's been most recent scenarios. I had a neighbor who lived across the street who had an injury due to the pregnancy. Well, not injury, but it was an issue that was autoimmune that came up during a pregnancy and after birth. She was in her 30s and ended up needing a threshold into her house. It was a one step into the house. That one, she had called me, they moved. She says, could you do me a favor and pick up that threshold? So obviously very heavy, very thick, but are the thresholds that we use able to be moved from place to place, or are they stable in the home? I know ramps are stable in the home and that's what they are, but are the thresholds able to be moved?
So the threshold ramps are very heavy. You want them to be heavy because let's imagine that someone's using this wheelchair or walker by themselves and let's say they let go of the wheelchair, they start to slide back. What if the threshold ramp started to slide back away from the doorway and they're by themselves? So the ones that we make, I don't want to use the word permanent because we're not securing it to the concrete. They are heavy enough really not be something that you're like, okay, I can put it at the front door, and then later when mom's going out the back door, I can move it. Now, do they make them like that? They do. They make them like rampsunlimited.com or something of that nature will make them like that, where there's a rope on them and you can move them. I just, under ADA, knowing the guidelines, I wouldn't recommend those. I would put a threshold ramp at each doorway instead of having them, that it would move. The requirements for a ramp, no matter the size, is 1 foot for every inch. Most thresholds are 3 inches. Some are 6. So imagine it being a 6-foot ramp. That's still a threshold ramp. You're not moving that. Even a 3-foot ramp made out of our solid wood, I wouldn't want to move that either. I don't think we've made anything less than 2 feet. No one, if you already have an inch, only an inch of a threshold, most wheelchairs and walkers can get right over that. So we don't really get asked for one that's small.
Mhm.
Yeah, this one was, I want to say it was about 2.5 feet. It was fairly large. And when I, went to actually pick it up, it was to the point that it was so heavy, I did need to get my husband to come help us out, because she also didn't want to, being only in her 30s, didn't want to have to go through the process of getting another one made and,
Yeah.
kind of go through that. And, they moved to another state. So it was definitely a well-made item. So thank you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Rose, any other
I think that,
suggestions? I said, any other suggestions for people who are looking to have their loved ones either come into their home or be safe in their own home? Without home
you
energy?
mean, I'm sorry, I only heard part of that. Did you say have you had it where a son or a daughter asks their parents to come move into their home?
Yeah, just any other suggestions for that? I mean, is there things that other things that people should be looking for?
Well, I know this sounds funny, but this will be actually the second time I've said it of this nature. Kid-proof your house. So if you think that your parent's going to come stay with you or move in with you, or even just for while they're healing, look at it as almost like a toddler is moving into the home, in the sense of make sure there's not toys up on the floor for them to trip on. Again, with the wires, right, and the outlets and whatnot, make sure that everything's just really safe for someone who's coming in that isn't fully at their best capacity or their abilities. But we do that. We install grab bars into the son and daughter's home if we need to. If you've got a parent coming in there, I know I said you need to be over 60 years old, but if someone living in your household, as long as you own that home, if your mom's coming to live with you, we'll retrofit your bathroom. Just keep in mind that is almost a permanent decision. If we do install the grab bars, it's not like, well, mom went back to her house, I can take these out now. Probably not. You should probably go ahead and keep them there. But it's the same thing. Just kind of pretend, doing it from their eyes. Walk through your own household. Look at it. Do I really need to have this big glass vase right here at the front door when mom's in a wheelchair? Something like that. Just kind of look at it and maybe put some stuff away in storage for a little bit.
Great idea. The storage idea is wonderful, Rose. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it. Sometimes we just have things, we have so many tchotchkes laying around, that we just think, do I really need that right there? Or can we just make it a little bit wider? Because the clearance for some of
Right.
these things, you might think, oh, gee, I've got a 26-inch wheelchair. I can get it down this hallway, but you need some clearance to be able to navigate through doorways, to be able to navigate around different things.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
tighter than you'd think.
For
Especially
sure.
if the person is trying to navigate the wheelchair by themselves. It's the one thing if it's a transport wheelchair and you're pushing mom down the hallway, and you can kind of do that and it's a totally different thing if your mom or your dad has some arthritis but they're in a regular wheelchair with those big clunky wheels on the sides and they're trying to push it down and trying to navigate them at the same time. It can be a real challenge if and we want to make it as easy as possible, I guess. So.
Right. No, I agree. And like I said, the best way that I can describe it, besides calling us, is to put yourself in their shoes. Go ahead and put yourself in that wheelchair and see how well you can get around your house. And maybe do you want to put on some of those corner clear protectors or whatnot for wheelchair bumps and stuff like that, so that you can maybe avoid some of the scuff marks on the corners and whatnot. And you'd be surprised, a little 1-inch or 2-inch stuff doesn't seem like a big deal until all of a sudden you're using an assistive device.
Absolutely. You're right. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks so much, Rose. I know you have to scoot because you have a place to be off-site.
I do.
I'm going to give you 5 minutes or so, and thank you so much, Rose, and I hope to see you back in October the next time we do this session. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I look forward to it. Thank you. And when this posts on Facebook, I'll check the comments if anybody has any questions.
Absolutely. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
So, Allie, I think what I'm looking for your input here is like the person has, let's just make the scenario that I'm deciding that we're gonna keep mom at home with me.
Okay.
And now, but the doctor is saying that we're gonna need some help. So we're gonna look and we said, get some help in your home. There's lots of different kinds of help in your home, aren't there?
There are.
We can do it. So I'd love it if you could go through sort of the differences between those different kinds of help in your home, what that means, what they can do, and a little bit about what the qualifications might be for each, because every one of them has their own kind of educational level, licensure level, certification level. It's different if you're going to have somebody just come stay with mom and read a book to them for an hour versus changing a catheter.
Absolutely. So, Aging Matters is our main goal, like we've talked about a bunch of different times, is to keep our seniors in their home. We have a goal and a passion to be able to have seniors in Brevard County age in place. So we do that with lots of different service lines, and kind of like you were mentioning, Beth, is some of the different services that we offer are the in-home help with our home care aides and our CNAs, which are certified nursing assistants. So the help in the home kind of ranges anywhere from companionship, which is sitting and reading a book with them, all the way up to this basic personal care level. And I can go in a little bit about the skilled services too, and I'll kind of go through each step a little bit as we go. I'll give a scenario of mom is discharging home from the hospital, or they're weak and they've already been home for a period of time. A physician can order in-home skilled care, and that skilled care is covered through the Medicare or their insurance coverage. And basically what skilled care does is it offers a nurse or a therapist to give them some set goals to be able to get better or improve their functioning. And it gets them to a point to be able to get a higher level of function, whether it's ambulating or bathing or eating or dressing on their own. There's certain goals. And that is when a therapist, a physician orders it, and a therapist or a nurse comes out and offers that help. So that's a little bit different than what we have. The in-home help through skilled services is kind of timed. You may have 5 or 6 goals that you want to hit, and you have to hit those goals in order for the insurance to continue to go on. Ours is different from there. Ours is not necessarily timed. We are there to be able to help with everyday activities, everyday living situations that a senior may have. So it could be, like I said, companionship where someone's reading a story to them, sitting with them, and that involves no hands-on. You are going to read a book to mom, you're going to play with cards. This senior may be functional, able to ambulate, able to live on their own, but just needs a little bit of company. And I think that's kind of the best way to explain it, is they just want to have some social interaction with another person. That would be companionship. Just like I said, sitting with them and enjoying their time, reading to them if they've got some vision impairment, playing some cards or playing some sort of games. That, and as well as homemaking. Homemaking is another service, and all of our services are safety oriented. Our goal is to keep them safe in their home. So our homemakers are not out there to clean your blinds and to go into your china cabinet or to go in and rearrange your food pantry. Yeah, we're going to check to make sure there's no expired foods for your safety, but we're not going to be out there and dusting your china. They're out there to make sure that the floors aren't wet, that you have clean dishes, your dishwasher's empty and you have dishes that are clean to be able to eat from, your laundry's done, your bed is made, those types of things. People have a hard time with changing linens and changing sheets. So taking care of that. So, it's to make sure that you're safely living in their home.
So Allie, would that include like cleaning a shower?
Say that again.
Cleaning a shower, would that include cleaning a shower?
It would. Actually, that kind of also follows in the personal care aspect of it. So we do, it can follow under both. If someone is able to bathe and get themselves ready and doesn't need assistance with bathing, then yes, a homemaker would come in and wipe your shower down, clean it down, clean your sink down, make sure it's dry, make sure your mirror is wiped off. Because those things, the mirror could be horribly messy from toothpaste or whatever it is, and it's hard to envision that something's going on with their face. They're hard to see that they already see a blurry mirror. They don't know if it's a difference between vision or just a dirty mirror, so we're there to make sure that safety is done. So yeah, it is. It's that tub is the number one area for falls. So, ensuring that after it's cleaned and wiped down, homemaking does not involve hands-on. So we've kind of lumped it in with the personal care as well, is even though someone in homemaking might be wiping down their tub and cleaning their tub, someone who's doing personal care, which is your bathing and your grooming, your personal hygiene, they're still going to wipe down that tub. Mm-hmm. They're going to make sure that someone's in there to help with that afterwards. And personal care has a fine line of services or tasks that are very similar with homemaking. The personal care is to make sure that they're involved with anything that could deal with personal hygiene. So they may still make the bed, they may still change the sheets, they may still wipe down the toilet and wipe down the tub after helping them with the shower. So
they're also helping with the shower themselves and helping you get dressed.
Yes. We can help with the shower as well during the personal care. Right. We can. There are some people that really do need that hands-on bathing. So yeah, we'll help with bathing and personal care, and we'll help with dressing. Personal care is really easily defined as anything to do with anything hands-on. If you're laying a hand on them, then you are performing personal care. If you're not laying a hand on them, you're doing homemaking or companion.
So I need help with my mom remembering to take a medication. Where does that land in the scheme?
That can hit under, we do another service, an additional service called respite as well. So if that person, that daughter who said, I need help with my mom to be able to help with medications, if they're living with them, it can also be respite. So there really are 4 basic service lines, and your homemaking, your companion, which are not hands-on, and then you have your personal care and your respite. Your personal care and respite can assist with medication reminders. Of course, under the basic personal care, which is not the same as skilled services that I talked about at the very beginning when your insurance covers them, we do medication reminders. We're not allowed to touch the medications, but we certainly can say, hey, Mrs. Smith, did you take your blood pressure medicine today? Or did you take your, insulin shot or something of that nature? So we can't assist with it, but we can absolutely do medication reminders.
So we can say, hey, Mrs. Smith, I noticed this probiotic is still on your counter. Was that something you should have taken at 10 o'clock?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Isn't that can be so hard though, because I know even at 51, 52, I don't remember if I took a certain medication. And I guess that's a key that I need to be more mindful. But I'm sure there are many occasions where that client wouldn't remember that they took it, or maybe they thought they took it, or maybe they didn't think they took it, and then now they're taking it again. So how do we handle that situation?
It's a good question on those. If there's some need for constant reminders, it's one thing to say, yes, we can assist with medication reminders, but it's another thing for pill management, medication management. Our aides are trained. They've gone through either an extensive amount of training as a personal care provider and a respite provider. Aging Matters in Brevard has a requirement of at least 75 hours, which is a home health aide certificate, or 120 hours, which is a certified nursing assistant. And those are licensed under the Brevard or the Florida School of Nursing. So they are trained and understand to be able to help assist with some sort of medication reminders. They are trained to be able to understand that they may need alternative services. You know, they can say, you know what, you know, we're going to mention to your daughter that maybe we need to have a nurse come in here to help with medication management. So we'll reach out to the physicians, let them know that we need to have some sort of skilled nursing staff come in, help set up that medication pill box, help set up many of the emergency alert services. The Help I Fall and I Can't Get Up have the pill boxes where they can place them in for daily, if not multiple times a day, reminders where it services an alert and has them say, Mrs. Smith, your medication is not taken yet, or an alarm goes off. And until you go over and touch that alarm, it will continue to go off, you know, and once you touch it, the medications are dispensed. So there's a lot of ways to be able to help assist the senior with reminding to take the pills. It's difficult for us because we're a very basic personal care. It doesn't allow for anything medical. So in those those medication administration falls under the more hands-on personal care than what we're allowed. But we certainly are trained to be able to help get those services installed and get them settled for them.
You know, I know there are some, so I mean, you can go all the way from companionship up and through skilled nursing, depending on, sometimes it depends on your pocketbook too. I mean, all of these services, you know, I think one of the things that sort of comes to surprises people, Medicare doesn't pay for this. And you're right, Ellie, that some, for a period of time after discharge from a hospital, or even after a certain, you know, illness, you can, doctors, physicians, PCPs, and attending physicians can order X amount of days or X amount of visits for a PT if you're weak, or a visiting nurse to help dress a wound, or to help with medication management. But there's an end time to that. And it can be because they need a goal, and it can also be because they've reached maximum function. Mm-hmm. And that sometimes is the kicker, because, you know, you might have a goal of being ambulatory, but when the physical therapist gets in there, you and your mom saying, okay, mom, we're going to get you back out walking up and down the block. And the physical therapist comes in and they try for a long time, and it becomes obvious that mom's never going to be able to walk without ambulate without a walker. This is the best we're going to get to her. And the services are done. So there's two different things there, and then Medicare no longer pays for it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other options out there. Obviously, if you are in the kind of, if you're in the kind of a situation where you can private pay, they're all going to be okay. You know, I'm pretty sure you can hire any of them.
Absolutely. And you can hire just about anyone. You know, there's several nurse registries where they have RNs and, you know, LPNs out there that can help with medication administration. Right. And you can privately pay for it.
Or changing a catheter.
Exactly. The changing a catheter. Yep. And it gets tough at certain locations. You know, I mean, obviously we'd love to be able to have your insurance cover it. I mean, the other thought too is you want to check into your long-term care insurance. Mm-hmm. You know, you may have, mom and dad may have something dug under their files that you don't even know that they had. And you all of a sudden call New York Life and they have a plan that they paid for many, many, many years that is offering them 12 hours a day. You know, I mean, sometimes there's a lapse in period where you need to out of pocket for a period of time, or you need to have physician's orders, or you need to have certain documentation appropriate for it. But there's a lot of different plans and policies out there that cover several hours a day. I mean, the other thought too,
I'm going to say, and especially if they're older plans, and they've gotten tighter. The
Yes.
plans that you could get in the 90s and that the 90s and 2000s are much different plans than you can get from 2010, 2015 on. The plans that you could get before the turn of the century tended to have be a little more generous with what they were. There might not be the caps. There might not be the caps for hours or caps for money. They might be a little more generous with what they consider in-home care. So you should look at, and so take a look, and they might have something that they've been, mom's been paying for it for years.
Right.
Dad died 5 years ago, and it was always an automatic withdrawal, and we didn't know that it was there. And Dad always paid for it, and mom's continued to pay for it, but we didn't even know it was there.
Absolutely. And I always kind of say too, is we get a lot of calls from community members or seniors in the community or the daughters or the sons, whoever, and say, well, my mom and dad have Medicaid, they have Medicaid, or they have Care Plus, or they, however. I always strongly encourage to have them just call the back of the number of the card. It's the worst thing they're going to say is, no, you don't have coverage. You don't know what your mom and dad might have signed up for. Their Medicaid could be where they have a case manager and they've got a plan that is covering these services in the home. Medicare is trying to play a different role now. They're finally starting to understand that it's time to help people of Medicare age have some assistance in home. It is a lot less expensive to have someone age in place in their home than it is in a nursing facility or an assisted living facility by thousands of dollars a month. So, it's significantly less to have someone in the home. So these insurance plans are starting to get a little bit better of an understanding of what it is to age in place. So cannot hurt to call the phone number on the back of the card and find out if you're actually, if you actually have that plan there.
And it's also great, I would say, another thing I'm just adding in here, that it's, if when dad passes away and you're going through all of those things, is to take a look to see whether or not there might be a plan so that people aren't just making the assumption. So take a look at what's out there routinely before it becomes a crisis, before you're, the local fire department's calling you saying, hey, listen, this is the, I've got your mom in the ambulance and she says it's okay to call you. Before you get to that point, have those conversations with your parents. And also, or if you're at that age, have those conversations with your children. To let them know, listen, this is what I've got. My mom has one of those, help I fall in, the lifeline kind of things. And she's got a piece that she attaches to her bra strap and another one that she has on it that she wears in the shower, and she's religious about it. I also have an aunt who leaves hers safely tucked in the box in her dresser. I don't know what she thinks is going to be, but she's sure that it's very safe and it's good. And I keep saying, Aunt June, it's not going to help you if you don't wear the damn thing, but she doesn't, so, it's important to have these conversations, so.
Yeah. And they need to think about, even though it's hard to get covered by insurance, but it kind of goes back to safety modifications. I mean, think about if you live in a two-story home, to think about those chairlifts, the up and down the stairs, there's a lot of falls at times. It's instability. And if you don't have the space to make a small bedroom downstairs, or have the ability to be able to put a bed downstairs, is really think about those stair lifts. The chair lifts, they help, and they've come a long way. They're not as gaudy. They're not as big. The chair folds right up against the wall, goes right up on the handrail, and you're up there. And they have remotes where you can send it back down, so it can be tucked away up at the top of the stairs. So if you had visitors coming in, they're not going to be noticeable. I know, our family went through it to be able to deal with. My grandmother growing up had one, and I used to love riding that thing up and down her stairs as I was 10 years old, So I thought it was the best thing, and, since sliced bread at that age. But I'm sure at her 80-something-year-old age, she was annoyed by it. but it helped keep her in the home. You know, she was able to stay in her home for the last years of her life until she got to a point where she couldn't be managed with more than one person. But it's a difficult scenario, you know, it's tough. So you got to really kind of think outside of the box a little bit to see what, and you know, sometimes it just isn't the right fit to be at home.
Well, and that's one of the things that we talked about in the last one is, you know, is them making that decision. You know, the other thing that people, so when you're doing home modifications or when you're looking at a house, it's not so much of a big problem here in Florida where we don't have basements. But I'm telling you, everybody, Ellie, you're from this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from upstate New York. All of our laundries were in the basement.
Yep.
You know, my father and mother-in-law, their laundry is still in the basement.
And it's not an easy walk down to the basement. There are no steps. It's just plank woods.
Right. Yes. And so those are the kinds of things that you need to be able to look at. My mother and father-in-law absolutely we got them a chair lift to go up the chair, and it absolutely kept my mother-in-law in her house, and is now keeping my father-in-law in his house.
Yeah.
He is past the age where he can have that knee done, and he is, you know, they're both feet first club. They're not going out of that house any other way, but it's hard if you don't have a full bathroom on the first floor.
Yeah.
And sponge baths sound great, but after a couple of months, it gets old. And if you don't have, and if you can't find a place to put a bedroom. So those stair chairs can be life altering and really help people.
Well, I wonder in the state of Florida, or at least in our community where so many of our houses are ranchers, even though that would be great for a house that has stairs, there are other considerations too. You mentioned doing the laundry in the basement. Well, we have a situation of a house we thought would be a starter home, but we're still there. And then we raised the family. Now the kids are leaving, and it's a good thing that we stayed in our starter home. And my husband says things like, you know, we should build a laundry room or put it out in the garage. And I'm like, you know, you might not think it's great. As the person who does laundry, having a washer and dryer in a closet that's right next to the kitchen table is actually perfect, because it's easier for mobility. If I had to, I could just have a chair there, reach in, fold it on the table. Why complicate your life? It's so many little subtle things that we have to start. I guess it's helpful to start thinking of. You know, as we age and as our parents get older. So yeah.
You know, Brooke, you mentioned a funny thing about that too, because when we first started looking at homes, gosh, it was, you know, back in 07 or something, 06, and my husband was pushing for the 2-story, and I pushed for the 1-story because I was seeing what my parents were going through at that point. And you know, they were getting a little bit older. They lived in a 5,000 square foot house, and it was hard for them to manage, to have the space to put a bedroom somewhere downstairs if they needed to in the formal living room. But they didn't want to do that. You know, they didn't want to disrupt their already existing beautiful home. So, you know, I remember being like, you know what, let's just stick to 1-story. Of course, now, do I wish we had a 2-story with 3 kids? Heck yeah. You know, I mean, I wish I had the space. But knowing down the road in about 15 years, 16 years, I'm going to be very thankful that I have a 1-story to be able to maintain and not have to go up 2 flights of stairs or a flight of stairs to be able to manage the upstairs and the downstairs. So
sooner than 15 or 16 years, trust me.
I know.
Maybe just 8 to 10.
I know, right?
How quickly it goes.
That's true.
Yeah.
I know the age of your children. After the age of about 15, they really are more just like Sasquatch. You see signs of them. You don't actually see them. You just see signs that they exist with you. You know, food is missing and stuff is messed up. But they really, you know, there's really no overt, you know, there's really no
over time
of the children.
You know, and Rose mentioned something that was really interesting, that safety is more important than being fashionable. And I get totally what she's saying. Of course, that's right. But, you know, you think about your own dignity and how you want to wear the clothes you want to wear, and you want your hair done the way you want your hair done, and you want your bathroom to look the way you want your bathroom to look. I think one of the issues with increased depression in seniors is, you know, maybe they do know that it's better to be safe than vein, but that's just one of those things that either they're going to have to, that's a huge shift in perspective. I personally have an 80 something, I'll just call him a relative so I don't get in trouble, and has a 3-story home, and his knees have never been good. And I remember saying, because when he came to the house, he was already in his 70s. You're already in your 70s, and this is a 3-story home. So what are you going to do? But he will keep climbing those stairs. He will in pain.
Yeah.
Because of the vanity. I think just because we get older doesn't mean maybe we get wiser and more okay with the indignities of life, but I think it's still super important for people to feel like they have a vibrant lifestyle, or maybe they'll just get over it after a few times and realize it's no big deal for everybody to see the
insecurities or whatever.
Who on this Zoom call wants to get rid of their strappy little heels? That they wear with their strappy little black heels that they wear with their cute little black cocktail dress. But which one of us doesn't have that in our closet? I can tell you I haven't worn them in years, but I am not.
I honestly, it's funny you say that, because I am now, and this is ironic because it was my mother's, okay, and then my mother passed away, and she had all of these beautiful shoes, and I don't wear high heels anymore. I don't even like to wear shoes, but I still have a closet of like 30 pairs of high heel shoes, and I'm like, they're going in a bag to be donated to a local thrift shop, because I know, so there is, but it's true, it is hard. I'm able to get over needing to, but see, I'm also almost 6 feet tall, so the need to wear heels is not as important to me as it might be for someone who is
5 foot
dainty.
Yes, absolutely. And even though I've had those 4-inch heels, I've been over those for a while, but I do have just a couple of, maybe about an inch and a half, and I do drag them out on New Year's Eve. So I'm not going to be wearing the sneakers with the so that sort of moves to that what you're talking about, Brooke, with the vanity and individual choices and people's right to make bad choices. I mean, we didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about that very much, but that can be a struggle with when caregiving. And you said, I had this, I'm having this minor little battle with my mom who I'm caring. It was funny. I said something to my mom the other day about how I didn't stay at one of the educational things that we had the other day, because I said because it was for caregivers, and my mother said, "You are caregiving for me, honey." And I said, "Yeah, you're right." So I was over at my mom's the other day, and she's been struggling with some health issues, and lately she's been using a cane or a walker, which is very unusual for her. I noticed that there was a throw rug outside in her lanai, and I said, "Mom, we should move that." She just got really downright nasty, ugly with me. No, we're going to keep that throw rug right where it is. Okay, Mom, but if you fall and break your neck, you're going to mess up a good weekend. I do not have being in the emergency room with you on my schedule. So I'm counting on you to behave yourself. I don't go out that door anyways. Okay, Mom. But, so people have the right to make their own choices. So, you know what?
We need to be able to exercise self-determination. You're so right. And also we can think about how we speak to our elders too, and so that we couch it in a way that it's less threatening. I don't know if it would be helpful. Maybe your mother would still be highly offended, but you might do it in a motivational way. So does this rug being here ever give you issues, or are you concerned about it at all? Have you thought about would you maybe there's some way we could secure it better, or is that an issue? Do you find that to be an issue? And it's so hard to slow down and think about how our parents, you don't want, or anyone regardless of age, doesn't want to be talked down to. They are human beings with dignity and a brain and probably some really great life stories. And it's very offensive to them to all of a sudden think that they're not in control of themselves at all. I mean, do you know what I'm saying? You guys have been out this much longer than me. I just started last week.
Well, I'm speaking as a woman who's 61. If if my PCP's assistant calls me sweetie one more time, I'm about ready to deck her. You know. Hey honey, hey sweetie. I'm not your sweetie.
Duly noted.
Don't call me sweetie. And I didn't realize, that's one of those things that you just, we as when we're younger, we do it and we don't necessarily mean these things by them, but we do have to pay attention to what we're doing and how we're saying things, and the self-determination and the ability and the right. So you know what, that throw rug is exactly where my mother wants it, and and it's going to be okay, and she's got this.
And even if it takes her down, she will have done it her way.
It takes her down, and we're going to have that conversation later, and she will get an "I told you so." But it's her frog. It's her. It is her monkey. It is her circus.
Yeah, I know.
So, I thank you, ladies, so very much for joining me. And Rose is gone, but I thank her very much too. This has been another episode of Caregiving 101. And I thank you both. And I look forward to doing this all again in October. And Brooke, I hope you can join me then. Thanks a lot, ladies. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.